So hello everybody, hi. A little bit messed up. I had my biking helmet on, right? So probably I bet you'd have to be pretty astute to figure out where I am now. It's quite a ways south of Eau Claire, about 2/3 of the way to Mondovi. I believe it's still County B that I'm on, I think so. And I was gonna go this big wide open field with beautiful vista, but the westerly wind is pretty stiff today. I thought it might be a little tricky you might hear a lot of shh instead of just the sound of the voice. So anyway, I thought this was pretty cool. And before long, the corn might be too high. It might block the view. So just a beautiful summer scene, I thought. You got those pretty clouds up there and the blue sky. Looks like you can see it okay in the viewfinder. Sometimes I worry when it's into the sun, it's too bright. Got some plants here. So anyway, happy summer, I guess, huh? Yeah. Well, I got a bunch of Parish news, a few other thoughts, I guess, for the day. It's July 22nd, so I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but it's the one time of year. Now, the 22nd's still okay, but when the days start getting shorter again, it's like early June. You know, it's all before you. The days are getting longer, and then you hit June 21st. Maybe that's why on the feast day of John the Baptist on the vigil, the feast is the 24th, the birth of John the Baptist, and they build a big bonfire. It's like, come on, no, the light has to keep going. We're going to build a fire. But it's interesting. He's born, isn't it? So just like almost 6 months apart from Jesus, the way they set the calendar up. I don't think they really know when those guys were born, but so the Lord, when he was born, it's like when the days are just getting longer again. So it's after the darkest day of the year. There are all these pagan festivals, like the god of the undying light or something. So when the light started coming back, can you imagine? You can imagine being frightened when the days kept getting darker and darker and darker. Will the light ever come back? And then they see the days are getting longer again. There's hope, and it's and so they'd have a festival for that. And then when they're trying to figure out when should we celebrate the birth of the Savior, the light of the world, he who enters the darkness as the light of God and brings light to us. Well, that's a pretty good time, isn't it? Emerging, goes into the darkness, and as the darkness emerges back into light, the birth of Christ. I'm not sure about John the Baptist, so I think maybe with the Baptist, it's probably, now that I think about it, one of his great lines is, from now on, because he had his own followers, where he was a big guy, right? A lot of people looked to him for leadership, and he said, but from now on, after Jesus came, that's the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. From now on, I must decrease, and he must increase. So maybe that's like John is going to, like the sun decreases now from here on out. Maybe that's like John the Baptist. Could be, huh? Let's see, did it get dark? I think the camera lens, it's not nice and blue anymore on the camera, is it? Sorry, I like you to have that blue sky. It's so beautiful. Got a little bee on me there. What is that, a bee? What is that? You see that? What is that? I'm going to try to be like St. Francis and not squash it, but it doesn't look biting, I don't think so. I think we're okay. God forbid I'd have a bug bite, right? Hey, look what I'm wearing. Can you see that? It's the Arcade restaurant. This is my big souvenir from my trip to Memphis. I mentioned the most important part of that visit was seeing where Martin Luther King was assassinated and taking that to heart. But just kind of the frivolous thing was going to the Arcade restaurant where Elvis used to go eat, right? And I got there, and I thought it'd be crowded, so I actually had lunch before, and I kind of sad sack story, but I thought, well, I'll have a milkshake and sit at the counter. And then the waiters are talking to me, and they said, yeah, it's maybe I told this at another chat, but Elvis used to sit over there in a special booth that was decorated special, but it wasn't roped off. You could still sit there and eat. Somebody was, so I couldn't go there. I had a milkshake, and then they said, yeah, this is where he always ordered his peanut butter and banana sandwiches, sometimes with bacon. And I think maybe I made that for myself when I was a boy, just peanut butter and bread. But these are fried in butter. So anyway, I'm wearing this today because it's cool. but also because, and visible on the road to drivers, because I made that. That was my breakfast today. I had some nice whole grain bread and some good natural peanut butter and some ripe bananas, some butter, melted some butter in the pan and fried it up. It was good. I'm not sure bacon would have really done much for it. I guess, but anyway, so I had my peanut butter. I had my Elvis breakfast today in honor of, it's his movies coming out Friday. I think after our wedding rehearsal, Greg Abbott and Melissa Sturr are getting married this weekend. We have a rehearsal Friday night. I think after that, I'm going to try to go to the movie. I assume it'll be in Eau Claire. It's a major release about his relationship, his career and his relationship with Colonel Tom Parker. I think it'll be pretty interesting. So maybe I'll see you there. Okay, I wanted to make sure I told you about my peanut butter and banana sandwich. Roy Ashbeck, gosh sakes, he's just been working like crazy. He comes over to the church and takes care of our grounds a lot. And did I mention we had tent caterpillars just between the rectory and the churchyard? Well, I sprayed some junk on it, but he did the main work, and then he cut down the tent caterpillars. I guess fortunately were on dead trees. They weren't really on live trees, and so he cut them all down and just it looks pristine now, and it just looked like a jungle of junk a week ago. So thanks, Roy, for all that time you put in there. Hey, congratulations to St. Anne's, my home parish where I grew up. They got, oops, I just itched my head and there was like a bee or something in there. That's how you get, that's the only time I ever get stung, is when they think I'm killing it. Otherwise, bees pretty much leave me alone. But St. Anne's, they finished their church renovation. It was beautiful. So I got to see at the tail end of their 6 p.m. Mass last week. And they had the bishop there in the morning dedicating the new altar. So Father Linder and John, I don't know who all's in staff, or I'd call you all out. But my mom, all those who supported the renovation, good job. It's nice, beautiful stuff. Our church, we're gonna have church this weekend. There's no renovations planned. But we're gonna also have an extra Mass this weekend, Saturday at 6. We're gonna have the outdoor Mass. And we'll do those once a month in the summer, so it'll be this Saturday at 6, June 25th, not the 20th, like I said 2 weeks ago. And, oh, the wind's blowing. Hopefully it won't. It's still here. It's kind of nice to hear the wind a little bit, isn't it? So that's good. And after Mass, Kelly and Beth are planning a bonfire with s'mores. So it's not just a come and go situation. It can be, certainly. You don't have to stay afterwards, but it should be kind of fun time to hang out as we continue to emerge from COVID, to have some good, fun social time to laugh, play. I can maybe even bring my beanbag games out. We had a neighbor, they had a yard sale 2 years ago, and he makes these homemade quality beanbag game, cornhole, I guess they call it. So we bought one for the youth program. It's in my garage though, and then last year there was still another one for sale, so I bought that. So I have 2 of them. Maybe we can pull those out Saturday. That'll be fun. Got to get practicing to defend my championship for the Summerfest beanbags. Not sure we're having that actually, but we'll try. Yeah, we'll try to have it. Hey, so Sunshine Days is this great tradition at St. James. We didn't do it last year with COVID and stuff, and this year we didn't know what the virus situation would be like, so it's not planned for this year either. However, Kelly and Beth got their brains going and hearts going, and they decided to have pop-up VBS, pop-up Vacation Bible School. What is that? What's a pop-up? It's kind of like these short shots, so not like 3 days in a row, but so on July 6th, I don't know if these are Wednesdays or what. Do you know? I feel like July 4th is a Monday, is it? So I think these maybe are Wednesdays, but I have the dates anyway. July 6th, July 20th, August 17th. Pop-up Vacation Bible School. They're thinking it really go best if the ones who come, hopefully they'll get some volunteers to help out too. Who did I have asking if they could volunteer? I forget, but that's half the fun too, is the ones who went through it as little children. They like to volunteer when they're in high school, and that's great. So I'm sure they'll need some of that too. But if the participants could be 4 years of age or older, that just makes it go a little better. When they're younger than that, it's a little bit tough sledding, I think, for some of the activities. So, yeah. Okay, I seem to be cutting through this pretty well. Hey, I've been, I'm around for weekend mass. I'm rarely late for weekend mass. I might not be suited up and ready to go, but I've been in church and I'm chatting with people and stuff. And sometimes 8 o'clock mass, my alarm doesn't go off or something. But the morning masses, I'm always a couple minutes late. I don't want to be. And people seem good. They seem to embrace it, and they spend the time in prayer and in quiet. I don't think they're seething with resentment, like where's the priest? But maybe they are, and I'm sorry about that. I don't do it glibly. And I was thinking today after mass, I got to somehow get on time. I can't keep being late like that, because it is, even though I don't feel disrespect for people, it is disrespectful to always be late, when something's scheduled. I realize that, so I feel bad about that. And it's not enough just to feel bad. You should try to change. So I was thinking, well, how come I'm late? Well, one, I can't stand mornings, and so I don't move very fast in the morning. I'm just kind of always just slow and hard to get out of bed. I like to squeeze the last minute of sleep and all that. And I don't think that's going to change. I don't know if I can suddenly like mornings. So the other thing is just that I always underestimate the time it takes to shower and shave. So I just got to recalibrate that, and that I can change. If I know that it's going to take more than 4 minutes, I know it takes more than 4 minutes. But honestly, I think I can do that in 10 minutes, but then I'm late. So I must not be able to do it in 10 minutes. So I'll just try to allot 15 minutes for that. So anyway, I'm sorry if you've been coming to that mass and like, how come he's always late? It's because he's a poor planner. And I'm sorry, and I'll try to do better. I'm being public about it. And maybe you can learn something too. Like when we're trying to change our behavior, it's like, well, what can we change? What can't we change? And I don't think I can become a morning person all of a sudden, but I can certainly start the shower 5 minutes earlier. So, okay, so I wanted to make that confession in my resolution. So someone last week said, hey, you mentioned that there's going to be this raffle where they sell 300 tickets at $100 a pop, but you didn't mention the prizes. I think I did like 3 weeks ago, but I didn't last week. So, first prize is pretty major. It's $5,000. I think that's more than we've offered since I've been at St. James, 8 years. So, $5,000. Second prize, $2,500. Third prize, $1,000. Fourth and fifth prizes, both $500. So I was doing the math. If you buy 50. If you buy 50 tickets at $100, you have a 1 in 6 chance of recouping your money with one draw of a ticket. Because you'd have, I'm not suggesting this realistically, it's just a little math game. Because you'd have, what did I say, 50 times 100? So you'd have $5,000 in the game. And you'd have 1/6 of the tickets, because there's only 300 tickets. That's the max. There's not going to be any more than those sold. You could buy half the tickets. There's still that many left, 150. And then that would be what? 150 times, oh gosh, I always think I'm good at math, and then I'm not. 150, how much are they? 100 times 100. Yeah, that'd be 15,000. So that'd be tough. You couldn't really recoup that. Yeah. But anyway, that's the deal. Just 300 sold. I think we sold about 30 of them so far. So I have a lot of people that say, no problem, those will sell, because those are good odds for a raffle. Silent auction, that can be a lot of fun. So they're gonna start organizing that. Sally was over today working with Christine, helping out with the silent auction. So they thought, consider if anything you could offer to the silent auction. They're looking for 3 kinds of donations. Service offers, like you can volunteer your child to mow someone's lawn once a month or something like that. Or, a dozen cookies a week, or, some kind of service offer like that, something that people could bid on. You could make your own pre-filled basket, like maybe with the theme. People make a morning theme, like coffee and pancake mix or something more creative than I could think of, I'm sure. Or gift certificates. Those are like the three categories they're thinking for the silent auction. I'm kind of jumping around. I've just got all this on a sheet here. So PBS is going to have a series that looks really good. So, Ken Burns, I don't know him, but I know his shows are always excellent. Last year he had he does documentaries. He did a documentary on Muhammad Ali's life last year. I think before that, he had one on country music that was just excellent. And before that, or maybe after that, he had one on the Vietnam War that was just excellent. He's done them on baseball. He's done them on the Civil War. I don't know if he's done one on civil rights or not. So he's a really good documentarian, and he has these shows. So it's going to be 2 nights. And this next topic that he has, I think, is good for, I think I wrote about this in the bulletin, good for Christians to consider watching, because we always want to be aware. There's that prayer that I love so much in one of our Eucharistic prayers, keep us attentive to the needs of all, so that sharing their grief and their pain, as well as their joy and their hope, we may go forward together along the way of your kingdom. So to be aware of people's grief and pain, this documentary series is called Hiding in Plain Sight. Youth, mental illness in youth. And this follows like 20, I think high school age students, adolescents, maybe some middle school. And just talks to them on what's their experience about having mental illness. And I'm sure it'll be eye-opening for me and for whoever watches it. Maybe a lot of you have lived through that yourself with mental illness, or a child of a friend. And what a cross that can be, huh? And so these are at 8 o'clock on Monday the 26th and Tuesday the 27th on PBS. So, and I think, like, if you don't have cable or a TV or an antenna, but you do have internet, I think once they air it, that it's also available just to go anytime, pbs.org, and watch it. So that'd be great. I think I'm really looking forward to it. Couple other thing. Jean Fandel, I don't know. She didn't die, but they thought she was going to, and she's just sweet gal, and she's had dementia for a long time. She's been in a memory care unit for a long time, and her brother Ray and sister-in-law Mary were with her in the hospital this morning, and they thought she might die, and she didn't. But her sister Kathy died last fall. And she had a real sound mind, but cancer came pretty quick to her. But they're such a duo. They lived in Milwaukee together. I just thought they're kind of like Laverne and Shirley. They just were like these sisters that hung out together and golfed, and I don't know if they bowled, or remember that show Laverne and Shirley. Anyway, if you know Jean, especially when you are with her, and I saw her just, I think, a month ago, and 2 months ago maybe, and she was just playing solitaire, just smiling away, playing solitaire, and I just talked. She had no idea who I was, I don't think, but she was super friendly, which is just a lifetime of being friendly and kind. Sometimes it pays off when you have dementia. Anyway, I'm keeping her in prayer today, because this could be her last hours or days. This Sunday we got recreation opportunities, Parish bike ride at noon, and softball at 6, family softball. I still got a pain right below my gut. I don't think it's a hernia. I've never had one, but I think it's just a pulled muscle. But it still hurts from the first time. I had to run around the bases, I hit the ball so far. I always got to run. I didn't have that great a hitting experience, but I ran around the bases a couple times, and I think I pulled some muscle, and it still hurts. So hopefully by Sunday I'll be in. I might have to be the steady pitcher. But if you're able to come. Last time we didn't have enough people to play, so we didn't play. But the first time we did, and it was fun. So we'll see who shows up Sunday at 6. Parish bike ride at noon. So I found out something for any of you guys who have COVID now and might not know this. I found something that was super irritating to me. So, I had COVID about 5 weeks ago, and basically feeling pretty good. You can tell I'm on a long bike ride today. But it seems like the more I exert myself, the crummier I feel the next day, which is, I'm used to like having a sinus infection or something, or having a cold. And as soon as you can start, exerting yourself again, getting back in shape, go for it. And I remember talking to my doctor. I said, will that slow the healing process down? He goes, no, you might not be able to go as fast or enjoy it as much, but it won't, the virus or sinus infection has a certain life, and you're not going to make it live longer by exercising. So I'm like, okay, so I assume that's always true. So I'm doing this, and then I have a friend who's a doctor, and I was just, last Friday, I was just wiped. I did like a longer ride, and I was kind of pushing it up the hills, and I was kind of getting close to home, and I knew where this friend of mine lived, so I pulled over, and I said, yeah. And she said, well, don't push yourself. I said, why not? You're supposed to get better. She said, not with COVID. COVID, when you push yourself too hard, it just elongates the healing process. I'm like, what? No one told me that. You think it's like, did I want to go on this long bike ride to try to get in shape? No. So something I didn't even want to do and was painful ends up hurting me rather than helping me. So that was kind of unhappy news, but just a word to the wise, It's kind of like, I got another bug here. What's this one? And I remember, like I went to the dentist once, and I had like gum receding or something, like you're losing gum. And I go, why do you think that is? And they said, well, I think you're brushing too hard. And I'm like, what? I mean, you think I like to brush my teeth? I mean, hard. I'm doing it because somewhere along the line, I thought it was the way you should do it. So I'm taking this, extra effort to brush real thoroughly and hard, and found out I was doing it too roughly or something. So, when you put effort to make yourself better and it actually makes yourself worse, that's a frustrating experience. So it pays to talk to people and to figure out what's the best way to do things, I guess. I don't know. Oh, worse things. A lot of people suffer a lot more than what I'm talking about, that's for sure. Ooh, there's a big horsefly. Those I don't have much mercy on, but I guess I will today. Aren't those the worst, horseflies? It's just like they excavate your flesh. It's just like, gosh. Yeah, but I was just thinking in terms of having the COVID and being fatigued and the suffering, and again, not to lionize my own mild suffering with this. I just thought, part of me when I had it just spiritualized it. I thought, well, so now I'm like, everyone else. A lot of people haven't had it yet, but a lot of people have. And I just thought of Jesus. I didn't volunteer to do it. I'd still not want to have it. But I just thought about Jesus, taking on our suffering, and I love that hymn from Philippians, that he didn't deem equality with God something to be grasped at and hung on to, but he emptied himself, taking the form of a slave, taking on human nature, taking on a body that suffers. And, that's part of it, just with our suffering, welcome to the human race. There's still part of me that resents suffering. And it'll be a big leap in spiritual growth for me when that ends, when I don't just resent suffering. I remember I used to just really get mad if I stubbed my toe. I'd be like, well, why did I do that? Or I don't deserve this. Or why do I have a sinus infection? Or like I deserve to be free of suffering and not have a cold ever, or never stub my toe. Like I want to be exempt from the human race, right? Ooh, speaking of suffering, my knee is getting pushed into a piece of gravel there. Ouch. But that's Jesus. That's something Jesus, what we do, and we just have to accept, is something that Jesus did voluntarily. Like he wanted COVID so he could suffer with everyone else. Or, he wanted arthritis. Not to encourage a cult of suffering, but you know what I mean? It's like he did that because he knew the way out. He knew that he could bring divine light into the experience of suffering. He could show us that it's not the end, that there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's resurrection after death. There's hope in the midst of suffering. And part of that hope is that he is with us. So that's good for me to remember, maybe for you, not to resent suffering. Maybe that's what they mean by embrace your suffering. Not to worship it or not to pursue it necessarily, but to know that it's something that draws us together as a human community. Our shared suffering makes us more compassionate. Last, what am I doing? How am I doing for time? I feel like I'm getting kind of long. 24. I was getting back to the 30 mark. I was getting better. But I just want to share this. Can you even see it? I'm having a hard time seeing my reflection because I'll just trust it. Can you see it? Okay, so you know who these guys are? Saints Peter and Paul. Okay, and make sure I really cannot see what you see. Usually I can, so hopefully it's good. So you can see they're in a close embrace. Their feast day is next week on the 29th of June, and that's my yeah. So anyway, they have. It's just one of these ironies of history. I don't know. I wasn't there around them. I don't think they liked each other. I think they were like Democrat and Republican. And there's a passage. Is it in Galatians? Where Peter, Peter's just writing letters. He doesn't know he's writing scripture that'll be read in church. He says something like, you're not saved by keeping these laws, these dietary laws. It's just faith in Jesus Christ. That so we shouldn't make these new Christians have all these laws that they have to abide as long as they want to make love the center of their lives and profess faith in the resurrection of Christ and forgive each other and accept God's forgiveness of them. It's all good. Shouldn't have to mention have to be circumcised, all that stuff. And I guess Peter was sort of the other camp, but he came around, and they ended up agreeing they wouldn't have to do all those Jewish things before they were Christian. But then he shows up. Oh, my brother's calling. I hope it doesn't stop the recording. Okay, it looks like I just don't answer it. I'm okay. I have a nice brother. He's calling up his son. Anyway, so Peter shows up somewhere, and even though he agreed that it's okay to eat pork or whatever it was, he's with these other people that thought that it wasn't okay to eat pork, and so he refused to eat pork. And Paul just rips him. He goes, well, is it allowed or isn't it allowed? Are you going to be act one way when you're with these people and act another way when you're with those people? And da-da-da. That's what Peter did. And he called him Cephas, I think, in that passage, but it's Peter. And anyway, they were kind of, Peter was more like you're the keys of the kingdom, first pope, all those kind of things, like more the law and order kind of person, and the head of the institution. And Paul was the evangelist and out there and on fire to preach the good news of Jesus Christ. Not that Peter wasn't; he did that as well. And Paul was also concerned about organizing local church communities. But they were kind of at odds, and I'm not sure they really liked each other. So anyway, this is really for today's age. Isn't this an important image? These people that maybe didn't even like each other, that had ideological differences, that sat on the other side of the aisle on a lot of issues. Are forced to share a feast day. They didn't choose that, and so they show them embracing. You imagine someone that you just kind of disagree with and you feel like you're at odds with a lot, and being called to embrace them. We should do that, and maybe have a meditation. I encourage you to do that sometime this week. Just think about someone that would be hard to really physically embrace or be near or even talk to sometimes because they make it crazy, and love them. Send warmth to them. Imagine sitting close to them and giving them a hug of pure love and wishing them well. Maybe someday that'd become a reality. So, anyway, that's what Reagan said about Democrats and Republicans. I've mentioned a lot because it means so much to me. It's like Tip O'Neill was a political enemy of Reagan's in the early 80s. But they'd still get together for drinks in the evening. And the first time O'Neill was surprised, and he said, "Why? I'm surprised you're having me over. We fought like cats and dogs today." And he said, "Tip, after 6 o'clock, there's no enemies. After 6 o'clock, there's no enemies." Oh, if we could only live like that, we'd be a much, much better place, wouldn't we? Okay, so I'm at 29:04. I'll just give you a little look at this. Oh man, my knees. Okay, and all good gifts surround us, are sent from heaven above. So thank the Lord, oh thank the Lord for all his love. I really want to thank the Lord. God bless you.